Few people know that Hungary's machine building industry is not limited to the well-known Icarus buses, but also includes specialized trucks and tractors produced by the Hungarian factory with a name so typical for most communist countries, Red Star. This factory was a nationalized branch of the well-known Anglo-Austrian engineering company, HSCS, which had existed since the days of Austria-Hungary. Founded in 1911, it specialized in the production of tractors, haulers, and various types of specialized auxiliary equipment. It was here, starting in the year 1956, that production commenced on the uniquely designed and innovative Dutra truck, a kind of mechanical vivisection reminiscent of Dr. Moreau from H.G. Wells' famous novel, who created human-animal hybrids through surgery. In a similar fashion, the factory's notable and skilled engineers combined the structure of a small dumper-class truck with a tractor base, creating something truly distinctive. As a result, a sort of truck tractor called Dutra was born, the name being a combination of the words dumper and tractor. The truck's design was incredibly original. It's quite possible that, if the seven dwarfs from the classic Snow White fairy tale were characters in a more modern and updated version of the story, they would likely use the Dutra in their minds. The dump truck, for reference, was designated as the DR50. The truck was built on the basis of a wheeled tractor and had the following dimensions: a length of 4 meters 24.5 centimeters, a width of 2 meters 26 centimeters, and a height of 2 meters 64 centimeters. The vehicle's weight was 5 tons 400 kilograms. It was equipped with a Cheppel diesel engine, D413, with a power output of 60 horsepower. The vehicle did not have a cab. At the driver's workstation in the truck to the left of the engine, a driver's seat was installed, which could rotate around the steering column. On this column, 2 vertical steering wheels were mounted, used depending on the direction of travel. The control pedals in the vehicle were also duplicated for convenience. The gearbox itself was a 4-speed unit, and it featured a reverse reducer located on the rear axle, which allowed the vehicle to move in reverse using the same 4 gears at the same speed as it would move forward, 35 kilometers per hour. Such a dump truck design with duplicated steering and a reverse reducer made it possible to move in confined spaces on construction sites without turning around. In essence, it was essentially a kind of self-propelled, motorized large wheelbarrow, specifically designed for efficiently transporting bulk materials within a single construction site. For example, during the construction of large plants or factories, its use was much more convenient and efficient than that of a full-fledged traditional truck. The first models of the Dutra lacked a lifting hydraulic cylinder, and unloading was carried out by the weight of the cargo itself, which tipped the body over. The unloading process itself was extremely dangerous and required strict adherence to safety regulations. The vehicle's payload capacity was an impressive 6 tons. The Dutra consumed 30 liters of fuel per 100 kilometers. The braking system was of the drum type with hydraulic drive. There was no power steering. The front suspension was independent and attached to the front leaf spring. Gradually, the design of the DR50 was improved. First and foremost, a hydraulic body lifting mechanism was installed on the modernized DR50C. In this way, the Dutra became a fully functional dump truck. And starting from the year 1961, a closed cab was installed on the truck, and the vehicle subsequently received the official designation DR50D. At that time, the factory also produced DR50SD self-loading dumpers, as well as DR50FD universal loaders, which were also known as B1. Thanks to its compact size, the truck was successfully used in the confined spaces of construction sites in many countries of the socialist bloc. About 6,000 units of the newer version of the Dutra were exported to the Soviet Union. Local drivers did not take to this particular vehicle primarily because of its poor visibility, its inability to travel on public roads, and also due to the lack of power steering. In 1966, based on the DR50, the Hungarian J116 Godolo dump truck was designed and developed, which was notably produced until 1973. That's the story of this cute, almost fairy tale-like truck that holds loads at socialist construction sites. Another equally interesting product from the Hungarian Red Star factory is the all-wheel drive Dutra D4K tractor, which was produced starting in 1964 and was the successor to the UE28 tractor. It had the traditional tractor layout, the cab positioned at the rear and the engine at the front. Everything would have been ordinary, if not for the tractor's extremely long engine compartment, which extended far beyond the front axle and made the tractor look like a giant anteater with a long snout, digging in the ground in search of food. This unusual design made the tractor easily recognizable. The tractor's weight was 4,328 kilograms. The D4K was equipped with a 4-cylinder diesel engine from the Chapelle company, with a displacement of 5.5 liters and a power output of 65 horsepower. The engine was mounted to the frame in front of the front axle, which made it easy to replace. This engine placement also effectively balanced the overall weight of the tractor itself and allowed for the use of heavy mounted equipment, making the tractor even more stable when working on uneven terrain. The tractor had a 3-speed gearbox with 2 low gears forward and 2 reverse gears. The tractor moved forward at speeds ranging from 1 to 22 kilometers per hour. The front-wheel drive of the D4K could be disengaged. There was a manual locking option for the rear axle differential. Since 1964, a power steering booster was installed. Since 1964, the Dutra D4KAB modification was also produced, which was equipped with a 6-cylinder Chapelle 6.3.15 diesel engine with a displacement of 7,983 cubic centimeters and a power output of 90 horsepower. Tractors that were exported to non-socialist countries were equipped with Perkins and Scania engines. Many of these tractors were exported to the United Kingdom. In some specific cases, Steyr engines were actually installed on the D4K tractor. The tractor was then officially named the Steyr Dutra 110 or the Steyr Dutra 1300. From 1964 to 1975, a total of 15,000 Dutra D4KAB tractors were produced. The largest buyer of this equipment was the GDR, which imported notably 4,000 tractors in total that easily handled the cultivation of heavy soils. However, starting from the late 70s, the central government of the GDR started replacing Dutra tractors with ZT300 and K700 tractors. At the same time, agricultural production cooperatives received vouchers from the authorities to purchase new K700s only if they could prove that they had given up the Dutra D4K tractor. As a result, almost all tractors of this brand were scrapped in the GDR. As we can see, Hungary's machine building industry, which produced trucks and tractors, was impressive not for its quantity, but for the extravagance and uniqueness of its designs and shapes.